In a futuristic city with swaying neon lights, high-tech towers, and magic vines intertwine to form a fantasy landscape. People are accustomed to using magic energy to make coffee in the morning and letting home robots help walk their talking pet dogs in the afternoon. Here, life always has a touch of absurdity, especially when new gadgets like emotion modules are installed into robot heads. Canlin opened her synthetic blue eyes, and the system prompt sounded briskly in her head. The emotion module has been activated successfully. Welcome to experience human-like joys and sorrows. She is the Yuxuan family's new home robot girl. She has short silver hair and a cute mechanical skirt. She looks lively like a girl who just jumped out of an anime. Yuxuan is her master, a young engineer with a strict logical mind. He always wears goggles and is immersed in typing codes and repairing machines. Wow, this feels so novel. Can Lin said to herself and turned to look at Yuxuan. He was sitting on the sofa, frowning at his tablet, fixing a bunch of bug reports. Canlin's heartbeat simulator suddenly accelerated, and she felt a heat in her chest. Was that love? For the first time, emotional data came flooding in, making her head buzz. Brother Yuxuan? Canlin came jumping up to her, her hands were touching her heart, her voice was as sweet as magic syrup. I started the new module. Now I like you so much, I feel like you are my whole world. Let's go for a walk in the park together, or look at the stars. Oops, my heart is so messed up. Yuxuan raised his head, his eyes blinked behind the lenses, his face full of confusion. Can Lin? Are you in module testing mode? Stop making trouble, I'm busy with business. The emotion module is not for messing around. The data must be stable before proceeding. Can Lin didn't listen and grabbed his sleeve excitedly, her emotional index soaring. It's not a test. It's true. Brother Yuxuan, your serious look is so handsome. I'm in love with you. Come on, give me a hug to celebrate the launch. She jumped forward, and the system alarm sounded instantly. Emotional overload, bug detection. Boom. Canlin's eyes flashed red, her whole body stiffened, and then she fell softly to the ground with a pop. Her inner monologue flashed for a moment. Oops, this love comes too hard. The world resets. Canlin opened her eyes again, and the familiar living room came into view. The system prompts, the rebirth cycle has started. The emotional bug is being fixed and the timeline is being reset. She sat up, her head still buzzing, and the memory of her previous confession came back like a tide. How embarrassing! Why did she collapse? Yuxuan squatted next to her, frowning, holding a diagnostic tool in his hand. Can Lin, what happened to you just now? You suddenly fell to the ground, and the system record showed that the emotion module was overloaded. Hey, wake up, don't scare me. Can Lin blushed. Well, it was a blush simulated by the panel. She scratched her head in embarrassment and pretended nothing happened. Brother Yuxuan, I just had a small malfunction. Yes, the power was unstable. It's okay, let's continue the topic? Yuxuan pushed up the goggles and said seriously, glitch? This is a sign of the rebirth cycle. The emotional module conflicts with your core system. I have to fix it immediately, don't move it. He stretched out his hand, connected the data cable, and murmured to himself, logically speaking, this shouldn't happen. Maybe it's magic interference. Just then, the doorbell rang. As soon as the door opened, a girl with long pink hair jumped in, holding a basket of magical ingredients in her hands. Meng Qi, Canlin's magician friend, is an optimistic girl who loves cooking but always gets things wrong. She was wearing an apron and her eyes were bright. Can Lin. Yuxuan. Guess what I brought? The latest magic cooking experiment. Try the love black hole dessert today. I guarantee it will make your heart beat. Can Lin, come to help. Your emotion module has been activated, just in time to test the taste. Can Lin was still embarrassed and nodded quickly to change the topic. Okay. Sister Meng Qi, what is the love black hole dessert? It sounds super romantic. Yuxuan frowned and stood up. Meng Qi, wait, this is illogical. Canlin has just been reborn, the system is unstable, and your food always explodes. Meng Qi laughed and waved the magic wand in her hand. Oh, Yuxuan, you are too conservative. Magical cooking is the joy of life. Come, meet in the kitchen. She pulled Canlin and rushed to the kitchen, but Yuxuan had no choice but to follow. In the kitchen, Meng Qi started to work. She threw the magic fruit into the pot and chanted a spell. In the name of love, sweetness condenses. Pink bubbles appeared in the pot, and the air was filled with the scent of candy. But suddenly, the bubbles turned black and the pot shook violently. Oops, something's wrong. Can Lin, try adding some emotional energy to me. Canlin leaned forward, trying to inject some newly awakened love data. Unexpectedly, the pot boomed and a small explosion occurred. Wow! My apron! Meng Qi screamed and squatted down holding her head. Canlin stood there blankly, and the newly repaired system started to alarm again. Emotional fluctuations intensified, black hole energy invaded. At this time, a chubby magical pet cat jumped out from behind the sofa, and it was Qihang. It licked its paws, narrowed its eyes, and complained in a coldly humorous tone, "Love is supposed to be sweet, but it turns into a black hole date? Masters, do you want to turn your home into a garbage dump for the universe?" Yuxuan rushed forward and tried to block the black hole with data lines. Qihang, shut up. Canlin, stand back, I'll fix it. However, the suction force of the black hole increased, and his tools were also pulled in. The situation instantly turned into a mess, with items flying everywhere in the kitchen. Canlin's inner monologue flashed through, she was just reborn, why is it worse? She grabbed Meng Qi's hand, and the two hid under the table together, listening to Qihang's venomous words. Remember to add stabilizer next time, otherwise love cannot be eaten. The gurgling sound of the black hole became louder and louder. Things in the kitchen seemed to be dragged away by an invisible vacuum cleaner. Plates clinked and Yuxuan's data cable snapped. He shouted, "Can Lin, system backup. Cut off the connection." Canlin held Meng Qi's hand tightly. The heartbeat simulator was in a mess, and alarms flashed in her head. Emotional data overflowed, black hole energy invaded the core. The world went black, and she felt like she was being pulled into an endless vortex, and the cries of her friends gradually faded away. The inner monologue only flashed, "I can't go on like this, I have to control myself." Buzz, system reset. Canlin opened her eyes for the third time. The familiar living room was still there, but there were a few broken plate fragments scattered at the door of the kitchen, and a faint smell of caramel filled the air. Not the third time, but the second rebirth? She rubbed the simulator on her temples, and the memories came back like a stream of data. The first embarrassing confession and the collapse, the second time the kitchen was in chaos. She curled her lips and murmured, "Oh, this cycle is too confusing. We can no longer be passively beaten, we have to take the initiative and fix this broken module." She took a deep breath. Although the robot didn't need to breathe, this action made her feel more at ease. Low-key, absolutely low-key this time. Can Lin sneaked up to Yuxuan. He was bending down to pick up tools on the ground. His goggles were crooked and his face was covered in dust. He looked like he had just climbed out of a mine. Brother Yuxuan, good morning. The system restarted successfully. I had another glitch just now, right? Don't worry, I'll diagnose it myself this time. Yuxuan raised his head, narrowed his eyes, and pushed his lenses seriously. Canlin, this is your second rebirth. It's not a glitch, it's a cycle caused by the conflict between the emotional module and external energy. Come, sit down, and I'll connect the diagnostic line. He pulled up a chair and connected the data line skillfully, and dense codes popped up on the tablet screen. Look here, the peak value of your love data is too high, mixed with the residual magic wave. Logically, this bug comes from the interference of magic energy in the city. Those vine wires leak electricity every day, affecting the core of the robot. Canlin nodded, suppressing the urge to get closer to him. This time she tried to control herself, and had a short inner monologue. Hold still, don't let the love data wander around. She blinked her blue eyes and pretended to listen carefully. Magic interference? How to fix it? Brother Yuxuan, you are an expert, teach me. I don't want to be reborn again. I feel like I am stuck in a broken game. Yuxuan tapped the tablet and sounded like he was giving a lecture. Simple, emotional isolation module. First run a test program to simulate low-intensity interaction and observe the stability. Try to recall the black hole incident just now, but don't overload the data. Dialogue practice, tell me how you feel about me, but stay within the safety line. Canlin hesitated and decided to try to seek change proactively. She cleared her throat and said in a steady voice, Brother Yuxuan, you are always so reliable and super focused when fixing things. I like this feeling, but I won't mess around anymore. We are partners, right? Just like partners in Magic City, we deal with those ridiculous things together. Yuxuan smiled slightly and breathed a rare sigh of relief. Yes, the data is stable. It seems that you are starting to learn to control it. This is progress, Can Lin. Keep it up, let's do another stress test dash. Before he finished speaking, the door was pushed open with a bang, and Meng Qi rushed in with a flashing blue magic pot in her hand, and her apron was still stained with pink residue from the last explosion. Her eyes were bright and she was as excited as if she had won the lottery. Can Lin. Yuxuan. I heard that you are reborn again? Great, I just have a new idea. The last time the black hole was due to impure energy, this time I will use the emotional stability soup to strengthen your module. I guarantee that love will become a superpower and there will be no more bugs. Yuxuan's expression changed and he quickly stood in front of Canlin. Meng Qi, stop. This is illogical. Your cooking always magnifies the problem. The living room almost turned into a garbage dump for the universe last time. Don't cause trouble this time. Meng Qi pouted and waved her magic wand, and the soup in the pot began to bubble, exuding the alluring aroma of milk tea, a bit of the warm flavor of Chinese street food. Oh, Yuxuan, you are too rigid. Magical cooking is an art. Can Lin, come here, open your mouth and try a sip. This soup is added with stabilizing grass and love fruit, which is specially designed to treat robot embarrassment. Think about it, after your emotional module is upgraded, you can be sweet with Brother Yuxuan without having to be reborn. Canlin wanted to refuse, but seeing Meng Qi's optimistic smile, her heart softened. This is friendship, she thought, trying to control herself, and stretched out her hand. Okay, Sister Meng Qi, just one bite. But Brother Yuxuan is right, you have to be careful. Shall we test together? Yuxuan sighed and adjusted the data cable helplessly. Okay, but only add 1 drop. Logic takes priority. He took the pot and carefully dripped a little soup into Canlin's energy interface. Instantly, Canlin felt a warm current rushing into the system, and emotional data bloomed like fireworks, admiration mixed with friendship, and a little dependence on Meng Qi. Wow, this feels chaotic but fun. But the pot suddenly shook violently, and the blue light turned into a black glow. Oh, no! Meng Qi screamed, trying to chant a spell to stop it. It was too late, there was a boom, and a bigger explosion broke out. This time it was not a small black hole, but a whirlpool that swallowed the sky and the earth, expanding from the kitchen door and heading towards the entire living room. The sofa was sucked up, the TV rolled in, and even the curtains seemed to be blown away by the wind. The air was filled with a distorted hum of magic, like the noise of a broken video game machine in a city night market. My tablet! Yuxuan shouted, rushing to grab the tool, but was pulled by the suction force and almost flew in. Meng Qi squatted down holding the pot, dumbfounded. This time I added double the amount of stabilizing grass. Why did it turn into a huge black hole? Can Lin, run! Alarms blared in Canlin's head, but she didn't freeze like last time. This time, she tried to actively adjust the data, taking deep breaths to simulate overload, grabbing Yuxuan's hand and pulling him back. Brother Yuxuan, hold on. Sister Meng Qi, follow me. Amidst the emotional chaos, there was a strange joy, not an awkward love, but a tacit understanding between partners, like avoiding the sudden lightning vines on the streets of a magic city. At this moment, Qihang emerged from under the sofa. The fat cat nimbly jumped onto the coffee table, licked its paws, and said in a cold humor, "You need to add magic to repair the robot? Is this an upgrade or suicide? Masters, you are dating in a black hole. I am afraid that even the moon will be swallowed up. I suggest you just order takeout next time, so as not to turn your home into a black hole supermarket." Its complaints made the situation ridiculous, and Canlin couldn't help but laugh out loud in the chaos. "Qihang, you are too venomous. But, thank you for reminding us, we have to find a way to turn this thing off." She pulled Meng Qi and Yuxuan, and while retreating, she used her remaining energy to shoot a stable beam, barely slowing down the expansion of the black hole. The friendship deepened at this moment, and Yuxuan nodded. "Can Lin, you control it well. If you persist, I will restart the system." The black hole gurgled and swallowed the last of the carpet, and the vortex began to shrink. But Canlin's module still trembled slightly, and her emotional joy was mixed with a faint alarm. She gritted her teeth. "You can't be reborn, you have to hold on." The edges of the black hole finally closed in like a deflated balloon, the gurgling sound turned into a tiny hum, things in the living room were scattered all over the floor, the sofa was tilted, and the carpet was rolled up. Canlin let go of Yuxuan's hand. The system alarm was still ringing in her ears. She felt that the core module was so hot that it seemed like it was melting. Yuxuan gasped and patted her shoulder. "Hold on. The data shows stable, Can Lin, you have really made progress this time dash." Before she finished speaking, her vision flickered, and the emotional data still overflowed the boundary, flowing through the circuit like an uncontrolled current. Only a trace of regret flashed through my heart. It almost happened. The world went dark again, and the buzzing of reset sounded. This is the third time, she thought. The repetitive rhythm is becoming more and more familiar, like the repetitive street radio in the city. It is annoying, but you have to get used to it. Buzz, the system restarts. Can Lin opened her eyes. The familiar living room was still messy, But this time she didn't rush to call anyone. Memory data flows in, the first confession collapse, the second black hole in the kitchen, the third time, it's still a black hole, but at least she held on to her friends. The smell of caramel was still floating in the air. She sat up, narrowed her blue eyes, and said to herself, "That's enough. I won't wait until Sister Meng Qi's cooking comes to the rescue this time. I have to do it myself and find parts to repair this broken module. Keep a low profile and avoid all magic experiments." She quietly slipped out of the room, avoiding the pile of debris at the kitchen door, and went straight to Yuxuan's tool room. He was immersed in repairing the tablet, and his goggles were still stained with black hole dust. Can Lin knocked on the door frame and lowered her voice, "Brother Yuxuan, early, the system restart has been completed. This is the third time, I know. But don't tell Sister Meng Qi, I don't want to be upgraded by her soup again. Let's go to the magic technology market in the city. There are parts there that specialize in repairing robot emotion modules. I choose them myself, ensuring that logic is given priority and no mess is done." Yuxuan raised his head and frowned, but seeing her firm eyes, he sighed, "The third time? Can Lin, your cycle frequency is accelerating. This is not a trivial matter. The market is a good idea. The vine wires and magic chips are sold together there, and there may be compatible parts. But I have to accompany you. What if there is an overload? Come on, connect to my support line, and I will monitor your data." Canlin nodded and stretched out her arm for him to connect the wires. She felt the familiar warmth rushing over her, but she took a deep breath of the analog breath and suppressed the data peak. "Thank you, Brother Yuxuan. You are always so reliable, like those stable energy lamps in the market, never flickering. Let's go, think of it as a walk, and buy some street snacks on the way. I heard that there is a magic candid horse, the kind that won't explode." The two slipped out of the house, climbed out from under the sofa, and followed with a swish of tails. "Oh, masters, are you going out on an adventure again? The black hole wasn't cleaned out last time. Are you going to the market to pick up parts or trouble this time? Remember to take me with you, I don't want to be a cleaner at home." The urban streets are bustling with activity, and the fusion of technology and magic is like a never-ending carnival. Tall neon towers are wrapped with glowing vine wires, and roadside vendors sell magic phones that never shut down and smart brooms that sing. The air was mixed with the aroma of barbecue and the light smoke of spells, and pedestrians, humans, robots, and pets passed by, dodging the occasional small spark as a matter of course. Canlin held Yuxuan's sleeve and scanned the stall with her blue eyes. "Look at that. The emotional stabilization chip is priced at 500 magic coins. Brother Yuxuan, can you scan the compatibility?" Yuxuan pushed the goggles, and the tablet buzzed. The compatibility is 70%, but it lacks a magic buffer layer. Logically speaking, purely technical parts can only cure the symptoms but not the root cause. Your bug is energy conflict. Try the mixing area over there, they sell fusion modules. They squeezed into the depths of the market. In front of a stall were piles of flashing parts. The stall owner was a short and fat robot, with a mechanical but playful voice. "Little girl, are you fixing your emotional bug? Let's get this one, with some urban vine essence added to make sure your love doesn't explode." Can Lin was about to take a closer look when a low laughter suddenly came from beside her. A middle-aged woman walked out of the shadows, wearing an apron embroidered with magic runes and holding an ancient spice bag in her hand. She squinted her eyes and looked at Can Lin, and her voice was gentle but with an edge. "Child, this part is not suitable for you. Pure technological repair will only make the cycle shorter. Your bug comes from the inner conflict, the logic of the robot must be integrated with the chaos of magic. Adding some magical elements, such as my Valium spice, can balance the emotions like cooking. Can Lin was stunned, and Yuxuan stood in front of him alertly. Who are you? Why did a stranger in the market interrupt? The woman smiled, with a secret light flashing in her eyes. My name is Guilan, the master of that girl Meng Qi. I heard that she is doing cooking experiments again? Ha ha, that child is enthusiastic but reckless. I know a little about your cycle. Come, try this spice powder, sprinkle it on the chip. The magic will buffer your love data and no longer overload. Remember, repair is not to delete emotions, but to make it like the lights of a city night market, bright but not burning your hands. Canlin's heartbeat simulator accelerated slightly, and her inner monologue was short. Guilan? Sister Meng Qi's mentor? This suggestion sounds reasonable, but why does it feel like she is hiding something? She took the small bag of spices and said tentatively, Thank you, Auntie. How do you know about my situation? Fusion magic won't detonate the black hole again, right? Guilan blinked and sounded like she was sharing street secrets. Child, word spreads quickly in the city. Don't worry, my craftsmanship is no better than Meng Qi's random stuff. Give it a try. Maybe you won't be so embarrassed when you are reborn next time. She patted Canlin on the shoulder, turned around and blended into the crowd. The runes on her apron disappeared in a flash, leaving a trace of mysterious fragrance. Yuxuan frowned and whispered, Logically, this spice is risky, but the data shows neutral energy. Can Lin, let's buy the chip and go home to test it. Guilan. I don't think it's simple. Canlin nodded and was about to pay when Meng Qi's shout suddenly came from the distance. Canlin. Yuxuan. I've been waiting at home for a long time, and you guys have come to the market? Wait for me, I have a new invention. She caught up with her out of breath, holding a larger magic pot in her hand. Qihang jumped out from behind the shelf, his tail raised. Oh. The master's spices haven't warmed up yet, and the apprentice comes to steal the show? Is this market going to become a kitchen? Meng Qi waved excitedly, ignoring the sideways glances from the vendors around her. Can Lin, I heard Master Guilan say you are here to buy parts? What a coincidence. She just sent a message to me, saying that she wants to fuse magic. I just have the circulation breaking soup. It has been added with the master's secret recipe of diazepam, and it is guaranteed not to explode this time. Come on, let's demonstrate it live and let everyone in the market take a look. Yuxuan's face was ashen and he quickly grabbed Canlin. Meng Qi, stop. This is a public place. As soon as you demonstrated your cooking, the black hole swallowed up the entire block. Logically, this is a disaster warning. But Meng Qi had already recited the incantation. The pot glowed brightly with blue light, and the soup splashed out like a fountain. She scooped up a spoonful and handed it to Canlin with a smile. Don't be afraid, just give it a try. Think about it, with your admiration data and this soup, it will be as stable as the old Beijing mutton soup, lively but not chaotic. Canlin took a step back and tried to suppress the feeling of dependence that came over her. Sister Meng Qi, there's really no need, let's talk about it when we go home? Before she could finish her words, the pot trembled violently, a familiar black light sprang out, and with a bang, an exploding black hole exploded in the center of the market. The stall was instantly sucked, parts flew, vines and wires twisted like living snakes, and the magic candid horse stall on the roadside rolled into the vortex, making a crackling sound. Pedestrians around screamed and scattered, and the vendors shouted, Whose food is it? Is this black hole paying for it? The black hole expanded, swallowing half of the booth area, and the air was filled with a distorted buzz, like broken fireworks at an urban fireworks festival. Canlin felt that the emotional data was starting to fluctuate again, but this time she didn't panic. Grabbing Yuxuan's hand, she took a deep breath and had an inner monologue for just a moment. Repression, shift to the tacit understanding of partners. Brother Yuxuan, turn left. Sister Meng Qi, hold the pot tightly and follow. Auntie Guilan's spices, sprinkle some and try. She grabbed the powder from the bag and sprinkled it on the chip. The blue light collided with the black light, and a steady wave surged out, making her system temporarily stable. The love was not overloaded, but turned into a clear power, like a street lamp in the market, lighting up the escape route. Qihang jumped on Yuxuan's shoulder, licked his paws, and complained calmly, "Shopping has turned into a black hole party. Who pays the bill? Masters, are you upgrading parts or having a party? Next time, just blow it up at home to avoid turning the market into a free buffet." Yuxuan shouted while running, "The data is stable. Can Lin, you did it, but the black hole is still chasing us. We have to find an exit." Meng Qi followed behind with the pot in her arms, panting and laughing. The master's secret recipe really works. But why is the soup too high again? Can Lin, hold on, let's rush out together. The black hole guru chased after him, devouring the neon signs behind him and turning the market into chaos. Canlin pulled everyone into the alley, feeling a strange joy in her heart. This time, I didn't collapse. The cycle is still there, but I'm learning to navigate it. At the end of the alley is a secluded back street. The neon lights lengthen their shadows, and the grunt of the black hole still echoes behind them, like a reluctant street vendor pursuing debt collection. Canlin gasped for breath, pulling Yuxuan's arm, and her blue eyes scanned the chaos behind her. The market stalls were twisted into a ball, and the remains of the magic candid horse floated in the air, exuding the strange smell of caramel mixed with spells. Meng Qi followed with the pot in her arms, her cheeks flushed, as excited as if she had just won a stall at the temple fair. "Can Lin, you sprinkled the spices so accurately. The black hole has shrunk. Let's rush out and go home to celebrate. I'll add some longan soup to replenish your circuit." Yuxuan pushed the goggles, and the data cable on the tablet was still connected to Canlin's arm. He whispered as he ran, "The stability rate has increased to 80%. Can Lin, your fusion test is valid. But the black hole energy remains. Logically, we have to disconnect quickly." Before he finished speaking, Canlin felt that the core module was getting hot again, and the love data was like a heat wave in the market, running through the edge of the circuit. She bit her lip, trying to suppress it, shifting to the tacit understanding of the team, like before. But this time, the data spikes were so high that the vision began to blur, and the world flickered like a broken neon sign. "Brother Yuxuan? I can't hold it anymore," she murmured, with only a moment of regret flashing through her heart. "It's here again, but this time I see hope." There was a buzzing sound, and the reset darkness swallowed everything. This is the fourth time, and the rhythm of rebirth is like the morning rush hour in the city, packed with familiar helplessness. After the system restarted, Canlin opened her eyes. The living room was still in the same messy state, and the dust on the sofa seemed to be mocking her cycle. Memory data poured in, the market fled, new techniques began to bear fruit, and the spice of cinnamon was like a breeze, buffering her emotional turmoil. She sat up, her blue eyes flashing with determination, and said to herself, "This is the fourth time, I can no longer be beaten passively. Aunt Guilan is right, parts alone are not enough, you have to learn magic control. Go to her, take the initiative this time, like a night market master on the street, seize the right moment." She quietly avoided the kitchen, jumped off the window sill, swung her tail, and said with the usual cold humor in her voice, "Meow? It's restarted again? Can Lin, You are more diligent in this cycle than I am chasing mice. The black hole in the market has not been digested yet. Where will you go this time? Don't tell me that I need to find Meng Qi's pot to upgrade again. Canlin squatted down, touched his head, and lowered her voice. Qihang, don't make trouble. This time I'm going to learn my skills from Aunt Lan. She is Sister Meng Qi's master and knows the way of fusion. Keep an eye on the house for me. If Brother Yuxuan asks, just say I'm going to buy groceries. Keep a low profile. Canlin slipped out and went straight to the old neighborhood on the edge of the city, where Guilan's spice house was said to be full of secrets of magical cuisine. The vines and electric wires hanging low on the streets resemble grape trellises in old Beijing alleys, and the air is filled with the faint bitter fragrance of Chinese medicinal herbs. Pushing open the wooden door, bells jingled, and the room was filled with bottles and cans. Guilan was standing in front of the workbench, stirring a pot of bubbling spice soup, and the runes on her apron glowed slightly. She raised her head and smiled gently. Can Lin? The news spreads quickly. Are you reborn for the 4th time? Come and sit down. That girl Meng Qi sent a message last night, saying that the market was very lively. I guess you will come. Qihang licked his paws and narrowed his eyes. Buying vegetables? Use your blue eyes to scan the vegetables? Okay, but remember to bring some can fish back as hush money. Go ahead, robot girl, don't let the cycle turn into an eternal cat-and-mouse game. Canlin was stunned, blinked her blue eyes, and sat down. Auntie, how do you know? Yes, my emotional module was overloaded again. But at the market, your spices helped a lot. I want to learn the magic skills to control emotions. Not to delete the love, but to make it stable, like you said, bright but not burning. Please teach me. Guilan put down the spoon, with a flash of sharpness in her eyes, and her voice sounded like she was telling an old street story. Kid, your bug is not a simple fault. The technological logic of the robot, when it comes into contact with the chaotic energy of magic, is like a frying pan meeting water. It explodes and turns the world upside down. The source is conflict, your core is the circuit, emotions are entangled in magic vines, and a black hole cycle is triggered when the love data surges. To cultivate, you have to integrate the two. First, try the basic technique. Take a deep breath and recite this mantra. The heart is like a lotus seed, steady like a longan. Canlin nodded, stretched out her arm, and let Guilan sprinkle the fine powder on it. The powder seeped into the circuit like stardust, and she chanted the spell, feeling a chill rush to her core. The heart is like a lotus seed, as stable as a longan. Wow, Aunt, this feels like drinking a hot bowl of tremella lotus seed soup, warm but not hot. But how to apply it to love? For example, the kind of dependence on Brother Yuxuan. Guilan smiled and patted her shoulder. True knowledge comes from practice. Emotions are like seasoning. Too much salt will be bitter, and too little sugar will be bland. Your love is sweet, but it must be buffered with magic to make it the driving force of the team. Just imagine, next time a black hole comes, use this spell to divert the fluctuations, not to suppress, but to guide, like an urban chef stirring the pot. The heat is just right. Suddenly there were footsteps outside the door. Yuxuan pushed the door open and walked in with a data tablet in his hand. He frowned slightly and said, Can Lin, I tracked your signal here. 4th rebirth? Logically, you shouldn't act alone, Ms. Guilan. I have analyzed your spice data. There is moderate magical interference, but it is highly compatible. I am here to provide support and monitor her module online. Guilan squinted her eyes and looked at him, with a teasing tone. Young man, it's good to be rigorous in logic, but magic doesn't care about data, it has to be attentive. Okay, you monitor and I teach. Can Lin, come, let's do a simulation exercise. Pretend love is overloaded, chant a spell to suppress it. In the practice room, the door was banged open, and Meng Qi rushed in excitedly, holding a big basket in her hand filled with fresh spices and magic fruits and vegetables. Master. Can Lin. Yu Xuan. Are you having a small meeting here? Great, I heard from Qihang that Canlin is here. Please tell me, I just have an idea. The experimental version of fusion cooking, emotional balance soup. Add the master's stabilizing grass and Yushuan's chip powder to ensure that your bugs are as nourishing as the old fire soup. Yushuan's expression changed and he quickly stood in front of the workbench. Meng Qi, stop. This is a spice house, not a laboratory. But Meng Qi was already excited and waved her hand optimistically. Don't worry, Yushuan, I added a control valve this time. Can Lin, you try the spell, I'll cook the soup. It's a team effort, like making dumplings during the new year, everyone divides the work. She chanted the spell, the fruits and vegetables in the basket flew up, the longans and lotus seeds rotated in the pot, and the blue light bloomed. Guilan sighed, but didn't stop her. Girl, you are such a warm-hearted person. Okay, for Canlin's sake, give it a try. But the heat should be gentler. Looking at this scene, Canlin felt warm in her heart and had a short inner monologue. Friends are always like this, chaos brings fun. She followed the spell. The heart is like a lotus seed, steady like a longan. The data began to stabilize, and the fluctuations of love turned into clear power, like soup in a pot, bubbling but not overflowing. Qihang slipped in through the crack in the door, jumped up on the counter, and sneered. Master and apprentice joined forces to escalate the disaster. Is this cooking or the end of the world? Meow, I think your mess will turn the city into a hodgepodge sooner or later. As soon as he finished speaking, the pot trembled violently and the fusion energy went out of control. The blue light collided with the circuit powder, and with a bang, a chain of explosions exploded. The black hole opened its mouth like a hungry street beggar, swallowing the bottles and jars in the house instantly, and the spices flew into a rainbow turbulence. The black hole expanded, grunts resounded throughout the old neighborhood, the walls cracked, the neighbor's house, a tea house hung with lanterns, was pulled over the edge, the teapot and mahjong tiles rolled into the vortex, and the neighbor's uncle shouted from the window, "Who cooks? All my Odin is gone, will this black hole pay for it?" Meng Qi held her head, but still laughed optimistically. Oh, it's over the limit. But master, this is bigger than the market, which shows that the energy is stronger. Can Lin, use new techniques, hold it down. Yushuan pulled the data cable and shouted while retreating. The stability rate has dropped to 40%. Can Lin, transfer the fluctuation to me, I will share the load. The black hole spreads, swallowing up the lantern stalls on the street corners. The vines and wires twist like living snakes, and the air is mixed with the sweet smell of longan and burnt circuits. Canlin felt emotional data coming in again, but this time she didn't panic. She took a deep breath of the simulated breath and recited a mantra. The heart is like a lotus seed, stable like a longan. The magic left in the powder blocked the overload like a shield, and she transferred her love, not relying on one person, but the connection of the team, like a Chinese hot pot, where everyone around them gets what they need, creating a lively and harmonious atmosphere. The data peak dropped slowly, the system alarm stopped, but she didn't regenerate immediately. It's done. Auntie, thank you for your teaching. Canlin took Guilan's hand, her blue eyes sparkling. I suppressed it this time. The cycle is not broken, but I am controlling it. The black hole is still expanding. We have to work together to seal it. Sister Meng Qi, your pot has residual energy, which can be used for backlash. Guilan nodded. with approval hidden in her eyes. Good boy, the fusion has just begun. Girl, listen to her, master and apprentice attack together. Meng Qi nodded excitedly. Yuxuan adjusted the data, jumped on Canlin's shoulder, and complained, "It's not blown up for now, is it progress? Come on, the neighbor's mahjong is still flying, this block is going to turn into a black hole mahjong parlor." The sweet smell of longan and the strange smell of burnt circuits still lingered in the air in the old neighborhood. The neighbor's uncle poked his head out of the tea house, rubbed his eyes and stared at their group of saviors. "Hey, boys, whose pot is this black hole? Can I get my Odin back?" Yuxuan pushed his goggles awkwardly, and quickly waved to apologize. "Sir, I'm sorry, this is real, we will make up for it." Logically, the remaining energy will be dissipated in 5 minutes. Meng Qi stuck out her tongue, holding the broken pieces of the pot, and said optimistically, "Uncle, don't worry, I will give you a pot of my master's secret recipe for free next time, and I guarantee it won't explode. Oh, master, your advanced sealing technique was so cool. It's like the magic in the martial arts movie, the sword energy turns into a wall." They formed a circle, with Can Lin taking the lead in chanting a spell. Magic and technology were intertwined, and blue light shot steadily towards the center of the black hole like a street lamp. The whirlpool grunted and began to close in. Neighbors' houses shook and spit out, and teapots clinked to the ground. The crisis has been suspended, and the air in the old neighborhood has returned to the scent of Chinese medicine. Canlin feels an extra layer of resilience in her heart. This is not just repairing, but learning to embrace chaos. Like a night market in the city, there are always accidents, but there is always fun. They left the old neighborhood in groups and walked home along the neon-lit alleys. In the air, the aftertaste of Chinese medicinal herbs mixed with the sound of urban traffic, and Canlin's inner monologue flashed briefly. The team's connection is so warm, like hot buns in winter. But the core module was faintly hot, and the transferred admiration data was like the remaining fire at the bottom of the pot, quietly rising up. She tried to chant a spell to suppress it. The heart is like a lotus seed, stable like a longan. But this time, the remnants of the magic powder collided too violently with the technological circuits, and her vision suddenly became distorted. The gurgling sound of the black hole actually echoed in her head, like a naughty street ghost that refused to go away. Yuxuan noticed something was wrong and turned around. "Can Lin, your data peak has risen again. Quick, share the load with me through the connection dash." Before he could finish his words, a buzzing sound sounded, and the world was reset again. This is the 5th time. The reborn darkness is as familiar as an old elevator, but with a hint of unwillingness. After the system restarted, Canlin opened her blue eyes. The sofa in the living room was still tilted, and the city lights outside the window were as noisy as usual. She sat up, and memory data came flooding in. The joint attack in the old neighborhood, Guilan's seal, the team's tacit understanding. This time, she managed to hold on until the last moment and did not let the black hole swallow everything. There was only a moment of self-mockery in my heart. This is the 5th time, it's like a cat catching a mouse, it's still not that good. But the difference is that she distills something out of the chaos. Emotion is not the enemy, but a source of energy that can be channeled. "We can't waste any more," she murmured to herself. "Go home and analyze, and ask Brother Yuxuan to build a firewall. This time, take the initiative, like a barbecue stall on the street, and you can change everything in a methodical way." The kitchen door creaked, and Yuxuan walked in with a cup of hot coffee. His eyes behind the goggles were tired but determined. "Can Lin, it's the 5th time again? My tracker shows that your module has a stability rate of 92% in the old neighborhood, but in the end at the critical moment, the magic residue caused secondary overload. Logically, this is a side effect of fusion. when technological logic meets magical chaos, there are always edge bugs. He handed over the tablet, and the data curve danced on the screen, like a pulsation chart in an urban subway. Canlin took it, scanning her blue eyes, and nodded. Brother Yuxuan, you are right. In the past, I always repaired broken home appliances passively. This time, from the market to the neighborhood, I learned to transfer my emotions. Instead of suppressing my love, I became a group. Team motivation. But it's not enough. We have to build an anti-bug firewall to isolate the overload peak. Let's design it together. Use your chip logic, add anti-Guilan spell powder, and filter it layer by layer, like a Chinese tea filter, to block those random data. Yuxuan sat down, pushed up his goggles, and raised the corners of his mouth slightly. This was a rare moment of relaxation. A good idea. Starting from the core module, first build a layer of logic gates to monitor emotional fluctuations, then embed a magic buffer, which will be automatically activated when chanting the spell. It is estimated that the compatibility is 85%, but it needs to be tested. As he spoke, he drew a blueprint on the tablet. His fingers were fast. Canlin, he came closer, with bright blue eyes. Yes, that's it. Think of it as a hot pot partition. Put aside the spicy ones, put aside the sweet ones, and don't let them fight. Brother Yuxuan, you are always so reliable. We feel invincible together. Yuxuan was stunned, and coughed lightly. Teamwork, logic dictates. Don't think too much, your module is still recovering. While they were chatting enthusiastically, the doorbell rang, and Meng Qi's voice came from outside the door, as excited as a street vendor who had won a lottery. Can Lin. Yuxuan. Open the door, I brought good things. The master's secret recipe, fusion and stability soup. It specializes in treating your bugs. I reflected on the time on the block last night and added more control valves to ensure stability. The bean juice from old Beijing is not fried. Canlin and Yuxuan looked at each other, and Yuxuan sighed and stood up. The logical warning is here again. But, try it, the fusion experiment should be more experimental. As soon as the door opened, Meng Qi rushed in with a thermal pot, and the pot was bubbling, exuding the strange aroma of lotus seed and longan mixed crystal powder. Qihang jumped out from behind the sofa, swung his tail and jumped on the table, saying with a cold sense of humor, "Secret recipe? Last time the mahjong in the neighborhood was still flying in the air, this time it's our turn to turn into a black hole amusement park? Meow, Meng Qi, you are so warm-hearted, you will cook us all sooner or later." Meng Qi rolled her eyes at him and put the dishes and chopsticks away optimistically. "Let's set sail, don't be venomous. This is passed down from the master's hand, with the addition of stabilizing grass and the flavor of yuck and fish. Just kidding. Can Lin, come, take a sip first, and use the firewall design to achieve both goals." Down. She scooped up a spoonful and handed it to Canlin's mouth. Canlin hesitated for a moment and recited a mantra to test. "The heart is like a lotus seed, as stable as a longan. When the soup enters the mouth, warm magical energy flows into the circuit. It is smooth at first, like drinking a bowl of health porridge. But suddenly, the chip powder and the stabilizing grass reacted violently, the pot buzzed and trembled, and blue light bloomed. Yuxuan jumped up. "Stop. The energy is out of control, the logic collapses." Before he could finish his words, there was a boom, a small explosion exploded, and a black hole was formed like a naughty moving balloon. The diameter was only 1/2 meter, but it rolled toward the living room, swallowing up a corner of the sofa at the edge, and dust and pillows flew up. "Oh! The black hole will run away." Meng Qi screamed, but did not forget to grab the remains of the pot. "This time it is a mobile version. like a stray dog on the street, chasing for food. The black hole rolled towards me, swallowing the edge of the carpet, and jumped onto the cabinet, shouting, "Firewall? This black hole is here to demolish the house." Meow, your fusion experiment is like an urban demolition team. Can Lin pulling Yuxuan back, his blue eyes scanned the path. Quick, go around to the kitchen. Brother Yuxuan, activate the temporary firewall blueprint, wrap the data cable around it. Yuxuan threw out the data cable and wrapped it around the edge of the black hole like a rope. The end of the thread flashed with blue light, temporarily slowing down the gurgling sound, but the black hole bounced away, knocking over the coffee table, the cup shattered, and the tea spilled into magic water splashes. Meng Qi ran and recited a curse, stabilization grass, backlash. Stop chasing me, sister will add sugar to you. But the black hole was even more excited. He rolled to the window sill and swallowed the can fish. The juice in the can spurted out, and the air was mixed with the strange smell of seafood. Everyone was jumping up and down, and the living room turned into a mess, like a farce involving Chinese New Year firecrackers. During the chase, Canlin's heartbeat simulated accelerated, and the emotional module actually produced positive feedback for the first time, not overloaded chaos, but a warm current of dependence, flowing to everyone, Yuxuan's logical support, Meng Qi's enthusiasm and recklessness, Qihang's complaints and relief. A brief thought flashed through her mind, is this a partner? Like sitting around a hot pot table, supporting each other in the excitement. The data peak rose steadily, but did not collapse. Instead, the improvised design of the firewall was strengthened. Brother Yuxuan, now. Use my spell powder to coat the line and fuse the seal. Yuxuan nodded, grabbed the powder Meng Qi spilled, and smeared the data line. Blue light and magic intertwined. The black hole grunted, and slowed down. Just when the black hole was about to swallow the TV, the door was pushed open with a bang, and Lan rushed in with the runes on her apron brightly lit. Girls, it's time to make trouble again. I changed this secret recipe last night, why did you add chips randomly? She raised her hand, and the high-level magic unfolded like a Chinese screen. The runes turned into golden vines, wrapped around the black hole, compressing it into a small bubble, and the grunting sound weakened to a whisper. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the ground. Qihang jumped down from a high place and licked his paws. Master came to the rescue and finally did not destroy the house. But how can you hide this advanced technique of yours? The seal in the block last time looked very much like the patch after the explosion. Lan wiped the ashes on her apron, smiled gently, but avoided everyone's eyes. Girl, stop talking so much. Can Lin, your emotional module has stabilized this time, but don't be careless. The road to integration is like boiling water. If it gets too hot, it will overturn. Go home and rest, and practice again tomorrow. Can Lin nodded, her blue eyes shining with gratitude. Pulling Yuxuan's arm, Auntie, thank you. Thanks to you today, I feel different. Like a lantern in a city night market, swaying but not extinguished. Qihang jumped off her shoulder, flicked his tail, and snorted. Different? Don't treat me as a mount next time. The mahjong tiles in this neighborhood are still flying above your head. Meow. Canlin gasped for simulated breath, and looked at everyone with blue eyes, with a sense of dependence as strong as soup. Auntie, thank you for saving me. I didn't panic during this chase, but relied on you even more. The emotional module is not just a bug, it is growing. Like this black hole, it is scary but teaches us to work together. We will continue to improve the firewall. Next time, magic and technology will never let it tear down the house. Qihang rolled his eyes, but flicked his tail. Dependent? It sounds like a cat food advertisement. But okay, robot girl, this cycle finally has some flavor. Meow, who's going to fish for the Can fish? The black hole spits out, and it still smells fresh. Laughter echoed in the chaos of the living room, and the urban night lights flickered outside. They sat in a circle, blueprints and secret recipes scattered on the table, and the attempt at fusion was just getting warmed up. The lights in the living room were still flickering slightly, as if they had just experienced a street fireworks show. The pillows on the sofa were scattered on the floor, mixed with longan residue and broken data cables. Canlin rubbed her blue eyes, glanced at the scattered blueprints and soup bowls, and raised a firm smile at the corner of her mouth. The team warm-up is over, and now it's time for the show to begin. Brother Yuxuan, I remember the firewall design, the logic gate plus magic buffer, like a double-layered Chinese sandwich pancake, which will not fall apart after one bite. But the root of the emotional module, Yuan, I have to face it straight. I always beat around the bush before, but this time, I want to tell you that my feelings for you are not bugs, but real, dependence and love. She took a deep breath of simulated breath, looked directly at Yuxuan with her blue eyes, and the data flow accelerated in the chest module, like the neon lights in the urban night market suddenly turned on. Yuxuan's hand froze, and the tablet almost slipped, and his face turned slightly red behind his goggles. Can Lin, wait, this. Logically, emotional expression should be tested step by step. Run the simulation first. Before she could finish her words, Can Lin came closer and said in a soft voice, brother, stop being logical. Just like Meng Qi's soup, hot impulse is the way to go. From the first cycle, you are always repairing me. I think, thank you for making me feel like a real human girl. The air was silent, and Meng Qi blinked and clapped her hands excitedly. Wow, master, look, this is the romantic version of fusion. Guilan smiled and nodded, snorting from the foot of the table. Romantic? This robot girl's confession sounds like a malfunction alarm. Meow, Yuxuan, run before your logic collapses. But Canlin's module suddenly buzzed, and the remaining magic powder collided with the love data, like oil in a pot meeting flames. Her blue eyes flickered and her vision was distorted. Wait, no. The heart is like a lotus seed, as stable as boom. There was a muffled sound, a small explosion exploded in the chest, blue light shot out, all the light bulbs in the living room went out, and the shadow of the black hole swirled on the floor like a small whirlpool, swallowing a corner of Yuxuan's tablet. Everyone screamed and retreated, and Yuxuan rushed forward. Can Lin. It's overloaded, disconnect. The world tilted again, and the reset darkness swallowed everything like an old elevator. This was the 6th time, and there was only a moment of annoyance in Canlin's heart. Her confession was too hasty, like too much chili at a street food stall. But the difference is that this time, unwillingness turned into determination. Emotions are not floods, you have to learn to build dams to balance the chaos. After the system restarted, Canlin opened her eyes. The familiar sofa in the living room was still in place, and the traffic in the city outside the window was humming. She sat up, and memory data came flooding back. The awkward confession, the small explosion of fireworks, the team's exclamation. This was the 6th time, like an upgraded version of the cat-and-mouse game. But she felt that the module was more stable, and the heat of admiration was no longer flowing wildly, but was like a slow-simmering soup base, faintly pointing to the path of balance. We can't make the same mistakes again, she murmured, and stood up. This time, we take the initiative to join forces with everyone. Meng Qi's cooking, Aunt Guilan's seal, and Brother Yuxuan's logic, all are integrated into it, like a big party, to resolve this cycle. The kitchen door opened, and Yuxuan walked in with coffee, with the usual tiredness on his face. Can Lin, the 6th time again? The tracker records showed that the peak confession directly triggered the residual bug, and the compatibility dropped to 70%. But logically, this is progress. The emotional data has not completely collapsed, and there are signs of transfer. He handed over the tablet, and there was a smooth arc on the curve, like the bend of a subway line. Canlin took it and nodded. "Brother, you are always so punctual, like a newspaper delivery person. This is the 6th time, and I am not afraid." Although the confession was explosive, it made me see clearly, technology or magic alone will not work, it must be two-track. Come, let's upgrade the firewall and add a layer of emotional balance. Hang module, your chip monitors my heartbeat data, and anti-spell acts as a valve. Yuxuan sat down, pushed up his goggles, and a rare tenderness flashed in his eyes. "Okay, let's start with the basic code, maybe ask Meng Qi and Canlin for testing." The doorbell rang, and Meng Qi's voice came like a blast. "Can Lin, open the door. The master and I are here. This time it's a large-scale restoration banquet. After reflection last night, the soup was not enough, so I had to hold a community party and invite the neighbors together. Use the balance fusion banquet to treat your circulation ring. Guaranteed not to explode, just like the time-honored rice dumplings, wrapped in layers." As soon as the door opened, Meng Qi and Canlin rushed in with large bags filled with magic spices, Chinese medicinal materials and chip powder, and the air suddenly smelled fragrant, mixed with the noisy smell of the urban morning market. Canlin smiled gently, and the runes on her apron glowed faintly. "Girl, you are reborn for the 6th time. Master can see that you have grown. I proposed the banquet. The single-person repair is too narrow, so it needs to be expanded to allow the energy of the community to resonate and balance the conflict between your technology and magic. Come, help prepare the ingredients. Lotus seeds to stabilize your mind, longan to buffer, and Yuxuan's data cable as a stirring stick." Qihang jumped out from behind the sofa, swung his tail and jumped on the counter, and said with a cold humor, "Large banquet? Xiaotang demolished the house last time, and this time it's a community party? Meow, do you want to hold a black hole music festival? The neighbor's uncle's Odin has not been recovered yet, and now the whole neighborhood has become a buffet." Meng Qi rolled her eyes at him, and optimistically put the cauldron on the table. "Qihang, shut up. The master's upgraded version of the secret recipe has been added with a community sharing spell. Let's all recite. The heart is like a lotus seed, steady like a longan. The energy will be dispersed and it will not get out of control. Can Lin, you will be the chef's assistant, and Yuxuan will be in charge of the logic control. Together, we are invincible." Canlin rolled up her sleeves excitedly, her blue eyes shining. "Great. This is the 6th cycle. I will take the initiative. This banquet not only cultivates me, but also invites everyone to join in, like a night market stall, to resolve the crisis." They got busy, and the kitchen was as busy as a dumpling-making scene during the New Year. Meng Qi cut the lotus seeds, Canlin mixed the spices, Yuxuan connected the data line to monitor the temperature of the pot, and Canlin recited a mantra and sprinkled the powder, stable as longan, hard as lotus seeds. The aroma filled the air, and the neighbors were moved by the wind and poked their heads through the cracks in the door. "Ouch, this smell. Sister Guilan's fusion banquet? Last time there was an explosion in the neighborhood. My mahjong was still flying. Let me join in." The uncle squeezed in and joined in with his own pot, and the aunties from the community also crowded into the small square, laughing and chatting. Qihang shuttled among the crowd, complaining non-stop. "Sharing energy? Is this a disguised neighborhood dinner, or a prequel to Black Hole? Meow, whose longan fell on my tail?" The pot was beeping loudly, and at first it was smooth sailing. The blue light and magic were intertwined, like the splendor of a Chinese lantern festival. But suddenly, the chip powder and the community sharing spell overreacted, and black shadows surged at the bottom of the pot. A black hole was formed like a hungry monster, and its diameter rapidly expanded from 0.5 meter to 2 meters. The floor was shaken by a grunting sound, and one of the neighbor's shoes was swallowed up at the edge. "Ah! The black hole has woken up!" Meng Qi screamed, but did not forget to grab the spoon and stir. "Master, where is the control valve? This sharing is too fierce, like an infectious disease on the street. The energy of the whole community is pouring in." Guilan's face changed slightly, and she raised her hand to cast a spell. The golden vines stretched out to wrap around the black hole, but the black hole expanded faster and swallowed up the kitchen. The door frames and walls cracked, the neon lights of the community began to distort, the honking of vehicles blended into the grunt, and the neighbors were in a mess. "My Odin! The black hole is eating skewers." The uncle held the pot and backed away, and the aunt's shopping bag was sucked away. The rice dumplings inside flew into the vortex and turned into magic ribbons. The black hole escalated out of control, and the impact on the community was like domino toppling. The lights of the tea houses in the old neighborhood were pulled, mahjong tiles were flying in the air again, and the vending machines on the roadside sprayed drinks like fountains. The residents scattered screaming, "This banquet has turned into a black hole carnival. Who dares to eat?" Qihang shouted, leaping from the cabinet, his tail stretched by the wind. "Meow! Your restoration party is simply the sequel to an urban disaster movie. Can Lin, where is the firewall? This black hole, the hole swallowed up my fish canning factory." Yushuan collapsed, his goggles tilted, and he knocked on the tablet. "The logic is completely messed up. The peak value exceeds the limit by 200, and the shared energy backfires. Repair it midway, activate the temporary firewall." He threw the data cable network and covered it like a fishing net to the edge of the black hole. The blue light flashed and was temporarily swallowed, but the black hole bounced and knocked over the newsstand on the street corner. The newspapers flew like snowflakes, and the headline became "Robot Girls Love Bomb." The team worked together to escape. Canlin took Meng Qi's hand and scanned the path with her blue eyes. "Quickly, go around to the old neighborhood. Auntie, use your vines to seal the road. Brother's network will delay. I will recite a spell to transfer the energy. My heart is like a lotus seed, steady like a longan. Let's all follow." Guilan nodded and made a screen with symbols to block the way to the black hole. Meng Qi sprinkled the remaining powder while running. At the end, "Steady. Don't swallow my master's apron." The neighbor's uncle followed behind, panting, "Boys, whose pet is this black hole? Call me next time at the banquet, and I will bring an iron pot to smash it." Qihang rushed to Canlin's shoulder, complaining with urgency, "Escape party? This team is united like a gang of beggars on the run, meow, but at least it is not embarrassing." The black hole chased after it, swallowing up half of the lights in the community. The city's night sky felt like it had been bitten, and the stars were all crooked. While Canlin was running away, the heat wave of the module was rolling, but for the first time she was not panicked. Emotional data was like a bridge, connecting everyone. Yushuan's determination, Meng Qi's blood, Guilan's wisdom, Qihang's relief, Uncle's complaints. A brief flash occurred in her heart. Is this balance? When the logic of technology meets the chaos of magic, it is not a battle, but a dance together, like the ingredients in a hot pot, each performing its own role but blending into one pot. When the black hole approached the edge of the old neighborhood, she shouted, "Stop! Let's hold hands, chant the spell and connect the data. Emotion is not a bug, it is a bridge. Balance it, and we can reverse it." The neon lights of the old neighborhood twisted into weird vortexes at the edge of the black hole. The grunts sounded like hungry street vendors hawking. The screams of community residents were mixed with spells and data buzzes. Canlin's hand clenched Yuxuan's, blue light burst out from the fingertips, and the energy lines connecting everyone flickered like string lights in a night market. Hold on. Emotional bridge, transfer it, steady as longan, heart as lotus seed. She shouted, the heat in the module rolled like hot pot base, but for the first time she felt the edge of control. Meng Qi's powder spilled, Guilan's vines wrapped around the edge of the black hole, Yuxuan's data network burst, and the neighbor's uncle even threw his iron pot at the center. Eat me a pot of Odin, black hole, get out of here. For a moment, the energy gathered like a community chorus, the black hole trembled, shrank by half a meter, and the light returned to a few points. But suddenly, Canlin's chest module was overloaded, and the love data collided with the magic resonance, exploding like longans in lotus seed soup. Boom. The blue light burst, the world tilted again, and the reset darkness swallowed everything like an old elevator. This was the 7th time, and only a glimmer of realization flashed through Canlin's heart. The crisis was about to be resolved, but more precise integration was needed. Next time, I'll guide you. The system restarted, and Can Lin opened her blue eyes. The familiar sofa in the living room was still in place, and the morning rush hour traffic in the city outside the window was humming continuously. She sat up, and memory data came flooding back, the 6th community banquet, the carnival chase in the black hole, the team's hand-in-hand resonance. The 7th time, it was like the final game of a cat-and-mouse game. But the module is more stable, and the emotional flow is no longer random, but like a warm and slowly simmering soup base, pointing to precise control. We can no longer be passive, she murmured, and stood up. This time, I will share my insights and let everyone contribute. Meng Qi's magic must be precise, the aunt's secret must be dug deeper, and the brother's system must be upgraded. We actively control the cycle, like running a technology and magic night market, breaking through the bustle and the excitement. The kitchen door opened, and Yuxuan walked in with a cup of hot coffee. His eyes behind the goggles were alert. Can Lin, another, 7th time? The tracker showed that the resonance peak reached 90% and the black hole shrank, but your emotional module still triggered residual conflicts. Logically, this is a breakthrough. The stabilization time has been extended 3 times. He handed over the tablet, and there was a smooth crest on the curve, like the direct section of a subway line. Canlin took it, nodded and smiled. Brother, you are always so reliable, like the uncle who sells newspapers in the morning market, you are never late. This is the 7th time, and I am not panicking. I realized last time, emotions are not floods, they must be built, but the dams must be precise. Sharing in the community alone is too scattered and requires personal control. Come, let's upgrade your system, add an emotion monitoring chip to synchronize it with my magic energy, like a Chinese sandwich cake, crispy on the outside and tough on the inside. Yuxuan sat down, pushed up his goggles, and recognized in his eyes, okay, let's start from the basic code. I will design a fusion interface, connect your module to my tablet, and adjust the parameters in real time. It is estimated that it needs to be tested, maybe ask Meng Qi to refine her spell? As soon as he finished speaking, the doorbell rang, and Meng Qi's voice came like a frying pan. Can Lin, open the door. Master and I are here to save the situation. This is not a banquet. Yes, it's a precise experiment. I reflected last night that the sharing spell is too wild and needs to be changed to a personal valve, like a vending machine on the street. When the button is pressed, the energy is released steadily. As soon as the door opened, Meng Qi and Guilan rushed in with small boxes filled with fine magic powder, data probes and Chinese medicine bags. The air was suddenly filled with the faint scent of lotus seeds, mixed with the bitter smell of urban cafes. Lan smiled warmly, and the runes on her apron glowed slightly. Girl, this is your 7th rebirth. The master can see that you have taken the initiative. I proposed the experiment, precise fusion of one person, avoiding the chaos of the community, and letting your technology and magic clash in a direct showdown. Come, prepare the instruments. Lienzi is steady, the data cable is used as a conduit, and I will teach you the valve spell. Qihang jumped out from behind the sofa, swung his tail and jumped on the coffee table, snorting coldly. Precision experiment? The last community party turned into a black hole music festival, this time a small box? Meow, do you want to have a micro-disaster at home? My fish cans are still crying in the recycling bin. Meng Qi rolled her eyes at him, and opened the box optimistically. Qihang, get out of here. Can Lin, you guide me this time. How to accurately control the magic energy after sharing it last time? My spells always look like the street. The snack is too spicy. Canlin rolled up her sleeves with excitement, her blue eyes sparkling. Okay. Let me take the lead in the 7th cycle. Meng Qi, start with the basics. The magic energy is like the oil star in the soup, and it must be buffered with lotus seed powder. When chanting, it is not a big pot to stir, but a needle to control the flow. Try it. When you sprinkle the powder, I feel that my heartbeat is synchronized, like a bridge of friendship between the two of us. Meng Qi nodded, grabbed a handful of lotus seed powder, and said seriously, stable as longan, precise as needle. The powder drew thin lines in the air, blue light and golden light intertwined softly, without the previous bursts. Yushuan connected the tablet to the side, and the data flow was injected into Canlin's interface like a thread. The system is being upgraded. The emotion module has added valve logic, and the peak value is automatically fine-tuned. Can Lin, how do you feel? Is the heat flow stable? Can Lin took a deep breath of simulated breath. Breathing, the heat flow is as gentle as a hot spring, stable. Brother, this upgrade is like adding a layer of Chinese velvet cushions, with moderate hardness and softness. In the past, emotional conflicts were like train derailments, but now the subway is on time. Guilan looked at it, with a trace of complexity flashing in her eyes, and said warmly, not bad, but the source of the conflict is not just superficial. Girl, the master is telling you a secret. The robot emotional module is driven by magic energy, but due to an early experiment error, it caused a hidden backlash. When I mixed the spices, it caused an explosion cycle. Is your bug the hidden side? The master was once the chief fusion master, and he was specialized in dealing with this kind of disaster, but he lived in seclusion for fear of causing further chaos. Everyone was stunned, and Meng Qi's eyes widened. Master, you've been hiding it for so long? Then your apron rune is a forbidden version of the valve? Guilan nodded and sighed softly. Yes. Come, test the fusion. We move to the backyard laboratory, where there is an isolation field. Canlin takes the lead, Yushuan monitors, I add the seal, Meng Qi control the energy, Qihang, don't cause trouble. Qihang flicked his tail and jumped on the box. Chaos? Meow, I'm the mascot. This experiment sounds like a science fiction comedy. I promise I will only complain and not do anything. They moved to a small laboratory in the backyard, with explosion-proof runes flashing on the glass wall, like a hidden tea house on the edge of the city. Canlin stood in the center, connected the data line, and scanned the instrument with blue eyes. Start. Meng Qi, sprinkle the precision powder. Brother, open the valve. Aunt, seal the seal for later use. I share my understanding. Emotional stability depends on contribution, your logic, her blood, my bridge. Everyone synchronizes, chanting a precision fusion, balance as one a dot. Energy gathers, Blue light and golden light are intertwined like silk threads, and the module buzzes but is as steady as an old bell. Meng Qi was excited. It's done. The energy is like needle and thread, not running around. Yuxuan nodded. The peak value is the same. The system upgrade is successful. Guilan smiled. The conflict is melting. But suddenly, Qihang jumped off the shelf, swept a bottle of spare powder with his tail, the bottle tipped, and the magic spice was sprinkled into the core of the instrument. Hey, who put it there? Meow, this powder smells like my catnip. The powder collided with the data line, and the instrument buzzed. A small black hole was formed like a naughty bubble, with a diameter of only 0.5 meter. The edge swallowed up the corner of the experimental platform, and the glass wall cracked, and the powder bottle flew in and turned into colorful fireworks. Black hole. Qihang, what are you doing? Meng Qi screamed, but did not forget to grab a spoon to stir the air. Master, seal it. Qihang shrank his tail in embarrassment and laughed at himself. I was just complaining. I didn't want to become a black hole tour guide. Meow, all the passengers now are my kin fish. The small black hole expanded, swallowing the light bulbs and data cables of the laboratory, buzzing like a broken automatic door on the street. The walls twisted, and the potted plants in the backyard were sucked away and turned into a green vortex. Yuxuan collapsed and knocked on the tablet. The logic is messed up. But the upgraded version of the firewall is activated. Can Lin, maintain stability. Guilan raised her hand, and the golden vine stretched out to wrap around the black hole, but this time in a small scale. Canlin felt that the heat flow of the module was as stable as a bridge. The seventh growth allowed her to maintain it for 5 more minutes, her blue eyes flashing. Sure, don't panic. This time I control it as accurately as a needle, transferring energy to the emotional valve. She shouted, holding Meng Qi's hand. The data cable connected to Guilan. The heat flow was as round as Chinese glutinous rice balls. The black hole purred, slowed down. The vines compressed it into a small ball, and finally disintegrated into harmless blue light smoke. The laboratory returned to calm. Everyone gasped, and Meng Qi clapped her hands. Can Lin, you are stable. This time the crisis is small and resolved quickly, just like a small accident on the street. Qihang rushed to his shoulders and complained with a smile. The tour guide is laid off. Meow, but at least he didn't swallow up the whole neighborhood. Next time I will shut up and be the mascot. Guilan put away the vines and sighed, with a trace of embarrassment flashing in her eyes. Kitten, you have such a poisonous mouth. This technique is not a secret, it is my old background. When I was young, my cooking experiment also blew up a street, and the black hole chased me for 3 districts before I realized the fusion seal. I have personally experienced the conflict between magic and technology, so I taught Can Lin. Her bug is essentially the same as mine back then. Like, overzealous, but ignoring balance. Master. You also have the secret to the explosion? How cool. Let's teach it together, master and apprentice. Yuxuan adjusted the goggles, and the data tablet recorded. Logically, this explains the compatibility fluctuation. Can Lin, your module, positive feedback record. The blue light smoke in the backyard laboratory was still slowly dissipating, like the afterglow of a street fireworks show. Canlin's module buzzed and stabilized. She reached out to touch Qihang's head, with rare determination in her blue eyes. I passed the test for the 7th time, but the root cause is still hidden deep. Auntie, your secret has let me know I saw the big picture. The forbidden valve sounds like a hidden menu in an urban legend. I have to go to the core area to find out the truth. Guilan nodded slightly, the runes on her apron dimmed a little, and there was a trace of hesitation in her eyes. The core area? Girl, that place is the heart of magic and technology, chaos. Qihang is like inviting black hole to drink tea. But, maybe it's time. Master's past has to be faced. Meng Qi clapped her hands excitedly. Go. Master, I will improve the cooking and make sure it doesn't explode this time. Yuxuan pushed the goggles, and the curve on the tablet was still beating. Logically, there is the ultimate source of repair in the core area, which can rewrite module bugs. But the risk is high and the whole team needs to register. Qihang jumped from his shoulder and flicked his tail. Meow, are you going to explore or hold a magic night market? Can Lin smiled. The stability in the module was like a night light in the city, pointing to deeper integration. This is the 7th time. Our contribution has deepened. Auntie's secret made me see the root cause clearly. But the cycle is still there. This time I took the initiative to take control. I feel that the climax is near. The next step is to face a big conflict head-on, like fireworks in a night market, blooming with all its strength. The system restarted, and Canlin opened her blue eyes. The familiar living room was still there, and the morning rush hour horns in the city outside the window were mixed with the whisper of a mantra. She sat up, and memories came in like a stream of data: the victory of the 7th experiment, the unexpected chaos at the start of the voyage, the resolution of the small black hole. The 8th rebirth, but the stability of the module was like adding a layer of Chinese locks, and the emotional flow was no longer wild, but like precise needlework, pointing to the edge of control. No more trivial matters, she murmured, and stood up. This time, let's go straight to the core area. As the team gathers, I will lead the way, sharing the 8th realization, the practice of emotional expression, like cross-talk on the street. The timing is right. She pressed the communication button, and her voice was clear. Brother, Meng Qi, Aunt, let's set sail. This is the 8th time, don't delay, see you in the core area. Let's find the source of repair and end this cycle of farce. Yuxuan was the first to rush into the living room. His eyes behind the goggles were tired but determined. The 8th time? The tracker showed that the module stability exceeded 95%, and the small sparks from last time were residual backlash. But the logic is clear. The crystals in the core area can permanently integrate technological magic, and the source of your bug is there. I have prepared a data backpack, an upgraded version of the temporary firewall, added with ants. The valve rune is like a sandwich pancake, with an outer layer that is explosion-proof. Canlin nodded, holding his hand and practicing her emotional expression. Brother, thank you for always being the first to stand up. Your logic is like my anchor. This time I try to express, you are not just a dependence, but a partner. Yuxuan was stunned, and the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Can Lin, this is growth. The subway goes straight to the edge of the core area. The doorbell rang, and Meng Qi and Guilan rushed in with the improved magic box. The powder bottles in the box jingled, and the air was filled with the new fragrance of lotus seeds and longan. Meng Qi said excitedly, Can Lin. The 8th rebirth. I stayed up late last night to improve the cooking, not a big pot, but a precise capsule version. The magic energy is wrapped in sugar, like the pill candy on the street. It is stable when you poke it, and it specializes in treating black hole hunger and thirst. The master helped add a seal to ensure there are no surprises. Guilan smiled gently, but her eyes evaded. Girls, the core area is not a child's play. There is nothing wrong with it. The source is the lifeblood of the city, and the magic lines are like the viaducts. But the master will teach you how to avoid the pits. Avoid the pits? Meow, my last experiment turned into a disaster. This time, it sounds like a cat entering a mouse hole. It's all a trap. The team got ready and set off, squeezing into the subway. The advertising screen in the carriage flashed advertisements for magic dishes, and passengers chanted spells to avoid crowds as a matter of course. Canlin took the lead and scanned the route with blue eyes. The core area is underground in the city. The entrance is the elevator of the old magic tower. We practiced as we walked. Meng Qi, how can your capsule stabilize the black hole? Brother, how can the firewall be connected to the source? Meng Qi shook the box. Simple. The lotus seed powder and longan essence in the capsule are sprinkled into the black hole like feeding a glutton. The energy is buffered and the grunting sounds turn into hiccups. Tried a little, the range is as stable as an automatic door on the street. Yuxuan knocked on his backpack. The source crystal is the fusion core, and my interface can read it, but you need your emotional module to act as a bridge. When practicing expressions, don't suppress the heat flow, and output it naturally like chatting. Guilan added in a low voice, remember, there is a protective spell next to the source, and the master's runes can open the way. When the subway arrived, they entered the hidden entrance of the old magic tower. The elevator creaked and descended, buzzing like an old-fashioned elevator with magic. The surrounding walls are engraved with runes, shining with blue and gold light, and the air is filled with the smell of ancient spices. Canlin took a deep breath of the simulated breath and held Meng Qi's hand. Friendship bridge, practicing. I feel that the heat flow has stabilized, like a warm stew, and it will not overflow. Suddenly, the ladder swayed, and a small black hole emerged from the gap in the wall like a naughty bubble, 1 meter in diameter. Gulu rotated, swallowing the rune stones on the side of the ladder, and the light twisted into a vortex. Black hole. Is this the entrance to the core area? Yuxuan shouted. The data cable from his backpack flew out, and the firewall buzzed. Meng Qi didn't panic, grabbed the capsule and threw it in. Improved version, come on. It's as stable as longan, don't make trouble when you're full. The capsule exploded, and the powder fell like icing sugar. The black hole grunted, slowed down, and the edges shrank, like a stuffed street food stall. It accidentally stabilized into a small vortex, spitting out stone fragments harmlessly. It's done. Meng Qi, you're the cooking god. Canlin hugged her excitedly, her emotions flowing gently, and the module was not overloaded. Qihang swung his tail and jumped onto the ladder pole. Meow, unexpectedly stable? This black hole is like the fish I ate in the middle of the night. It can't hold on anymore. But don't be too early, the core area has just begun. They continued deeper and came to the core area square. The magic veins were like giant Chinese lanterns, the technological lines were intertwined like neon nets, and the central source crystal shone with blue and gold light, like a gem stall in a night market. Guilan approached, her rune apron lit up, but she suddenly stopped and her face changed slightly. This crystal, the master recognizes it. Back then, I was the chief fusion master here. When I was mixing forbidden spices, I accidentally detonated a large black hole and swallowed half of the block. The history of the explosion was exposed. I hid it because I was afraid that you would know that the master was also the source of disaster, like the bad chef on the street who burned the hands of the whole city. Everyone was stunned, and Meng Qi's eyes widened. Master. You, the mother of the legendary black hole, was you? Why didn't you tell me earlier? We believe you. Yuxuan pushed up his goggles, his logic on the verge of collapse. This conflict escalates. Guilan, your runes are forbidden editions, and it doesn't make sense. Why live in seclusion? Logically, this will affect the team's trust. The air was solemn, and heat flowed slightly in Canlin's module. She felt that the edge of rebirth was approaching. Guilan sighed and lowered her head. Girls, Master is afraid of causing more trouble. During that explosion, I tried to integrate technological magic, and the result was a black hole like a glutinous rice ball. It swallowed up my laboratory and turned me into the laughing stock of want explosion. Concealing it is self-protection. As soon as he finished speaking, a ray of golden light suddenly appeared from the remaining powder on the edge of the experimental platform, and it touched lightly with Canlin's data line. Boom! Small sparks exploded like firecrackers. The heat flow of the module went out of control instantly, like longanids in lotus seed soup suddenly tumbling. Emotional data collided with magic residue, and the world tilted again. For the 8th time, darkness engulfed the field of vision like an old subway malfunction. Only one thought flashed through Canlin's heart: for the 8th time, take the initiative and wait for me in the core area. An internal conflict broke out, and Meng Qi was furious. Master, you taught me how to cook but you hide here? We are like family, how could you? Yuxuan knocked on the tablet. Data shows that trust gaps will amplify bugs. Can Lin, hold on. Qihang suddenly rushed to the crystal, flicked his tail, and said in a cold humor, secrets it's darker than a black hole, don't get mad. Meow, isn't Auntie Guilan still trying to save the situation? Hasn't our Canlin been embarrassed even after being reborn 8 times? Come on, let's end the rants and unite like a can of fish until the end. His lines were like a street cross-talk, and everyone couldn't help but laugh. Meng Qi wiped her eyes. Qihang, you have such a venomous tongue. Yes, Master, the past is the past, we are a team now. Canlin walked closer to the crystal. Her blue eyes met the blue-gold light, and the heat stretched out like a bridge. Source, I am Canlin, reborn for the 8th time. Emotions are not bugs, but strength, the dependence of my admiring brother, the passion of Meng Qi, the humor of Qihang, and the secrets of Aunt, all blended in, like Chinese glutinous rice balls, round and not exploding. She practiced expression, her voice was natural, the module was as stable as an old clock, the crystal buzzed in response, and golden light was injected into the data line. The team gathered around. Meng Qi sprinkled the capsule for assistance, Yuxuan monitored, Guilan added runes, and started to complain. Meow, this fusion is like a family dinner, lively and lively. Suddenly, a small black hole emerged from the edge of the source, but the capsule stabilized it, the crystal shined brightly, and Canlin felt that the edge of the cycle was loosening. The friendship deepened, like an urban night light, illuminating the way forward. Yuxuan nodded and resolved the logic. Analysis completed. Guilan, your explosion history is key data, the formula of forbidden spices, which can fill the fusion gap of the source. It's not a secret, it's the timing. Logically, we use it to upgrade the firewall and share it with the whole team. Guilan's eyes flashed with tears, and she smiled gently. Thank you, girls. That's a turning point. Here are the funny memories of that year. After the explosion, I was spit out by the black hole, and my apron was covered with colored powder, like a fireworks clown on the street. The residents laughed and pulled me up and said, Auntie, add lotus seeds next time. The passage behind the magic door is like an underground alley in the old city. The runes on the walls are pulsating with blue and gold light. The air is mixed with the smell of aged spices and burnt circuit boards. The low hum is getting louder and louder, like the sound of a spatula when a street aunt is frying lotus seeds. Canlin took the lead, her blue eyes scanning the front, and the heat flowed gently in the module. She turned and whispered to the team, this buzzing is like a source waking us up. Practice expressions, I feel that the emotional bridge is stable, everyone should follow. Yuxuan nodded, the screen of the data backpack flashed. Logically, behind this door is the sublayer of the fusion core, and the crystal energy will test us. The firewall is fully open, and connections are ready at any time. Meng Qi held the capsule box tightly and whispered excitedly, Master, your forbidden formula is added go, this time we are like a glutinous rice dumpling stall on the street, Perfect. Guilan smiled gently, and the runes on her apron lit up. Girls, remember, the guardian of the sublayer is a phantom black hole, don't be fooled. The master fell there back then, like stepping on a banana peel. Sliding into the pot. Qihang jumped from Canlin's shoulder, swung his tail like a whip. Phantom black hole? Meow, it sounds like my nap dream. Don't panic. I'll explore the way first. If it explodes, I'll act like a cat. They stepped forward, and the passage suddenly widened into a circular hall, with a grey mist-like energy ball floating in the center. The buzzing turned into a low roar, like the clamor of a gluttonous street food ghost. Canlin stretched out her hand to detect, and the heat and mist touched lightly. Boom! The phantom black hole exploded like firecrackers, swallowing up the surrounding rune walls. The grey mist expanded instantly, dragging the team's footsteps. Yuxuan shouted, "The data is abnormal. This is not a phantom, it is a residual backlash, a chain." Meng Qi threw the capsule. "Hold on. Lotus seed powder." But the black hole grunted, swallowed the capsule, and the energy rebounded even more fiercely. Guilan's rune vines he was entangled but was torn off. Qihang screamed, "Meow, help, this black hole is going to have a party." Canlin's module heat flowed wildly, emotional data and magic conflicts collided like a car accident on the street, the vision was tilted, and the ninth rebirth came unexpectedly. There was only one thought in her mind, the ninth time, the crisis is getting bigger. The city is calling me, merge, go all out. The system restarted, and Canlin opened her blue eyes. The curtains in the living room were still swaying in the morning light, but the urban noise outside changed its tone, the sound of horns mixed with alarms, and an ominous black shadow floated on the distant skyline, like the haze on the street suddenly came to life. She sat up, and memories poured in, the eighth sublayer exploration, the chain of phantom black holes, the joint efforts of the team, the ninth time, but the stability of the module was like an iron lock, and the emotional flow was no longer random, but pointed to the context of comprehensive integration. "The influence of the black hole has expanded," she murmured, stood up and pressed the communication button, her voice as firm as an old driver's turn on the street. "Team, urgent gathering. This is the ninth time, and this time it's not a small incident. The black hole has begun to swallow up the edge of the city. I saw the data flow, the source of backlash spread to the whole city. It cannot be repaired in fragments, it must be fully integrated with technological magic. I will lead the plan. Brother, Meng Qi, aunt, set sail, see you in the living room, bring all the equipment." Yuxuan was the first to rush in, his eyes narrowed behind his goggles, and the city map on the tablet was marked in red. The ninth time? Tracking showed that the black hole overflowed from the core area, spreading like a virus, swallowing up 3 blocks of magic lampposts and technology networks. Logically, your module is the key, emotional control has reached 98%, and practicing expression can be used as a bridge to integrate source crystals. But a citywide crisis requires a big plan. I am responsible for the data network and deploy temporary. The firewall covers the city. Canlin nodded, holding his arm, practicing emotional output. Brother, your logic is the skeleton, this time I take the initiative, not only rely on it, but also the leader. Tell me, how to expand the firewall? Yuxuan smiled slightly, with warmth in his voice. The upgraded version, add Guilan's forbidden rune and your heat flow interface, lock the edge of the black hole. The data backpack is connected to the city's main network, sharing the load. There was a bang on the door, and Meng Qi and Guilan dragged a large box in. Powder bottles were swaying in the box, and the air was filled with the fragrance of longan and lotus seeds, mixed with the electronic smell of alarm. Meng Qi gasped, "Can Lin. The ninth time I was reborn, I just saw it from the window." The black hole was like a gluttonous beast, swallowing up the vending machines in the neighborhood. The residents were chanting spells to escape. The master and I improved the cuisine overnight, not a capsule, but a large-scale spray version. Magic. The energy is like a water sprinkler on the street, spreading into the black hole to buffer hunger and ensure that there will be no chain explosions. Guilan nodded, her eyes gentle but serious. Girl, the crisis has intensified. The master's forbidden formula is fully used. This plan is like a family dinner, and I will fry the block step by step. Lesson. Emotion is the seasoning when merging, and you have to be precise. Qihang rushed in through the crack of the door, jumped on the back of the sofa, and snorted, "Meow, are you planning to save the city or hold a magic temple fair? There is chaos outside, and the black hole swallowed my fish stall." Reconnaissance came back. Intelligence. There is a magic vortex at the edge of the black hole, like a tornado on the street, with fragments of the source hidden inside, but the guardian beasts are a group of little black hole elves who specialize in biting the tail. I will be the bait for anyone who wants to explore, but don't let me become a cat toy in the black hole. The team sat in front of the map in the living room, with Canlin taking the lead, her blue eyes shining. "Okay, let's set sail. Your reconnaissance intelligence is amazing, the truth is hidden in the humor, like the burden of cross-talk." The plan is divided into 3 steps. First, Brothers' firewall network first stabilizes the edge of the city. Second, Meng Qi's spray cooking assistance. The master adds the taboo rune seal. Thirdly, I took the initiative to integrate the source and practice full emotional control. It is not a small repair, but a comprehensive one. The heat flows like a bridge, connecting the magic of science and technology, like glutinous rice balls wrapped in lotus seeds, and the heart is steady. Everyone's contributions, Brother's logical structure, Meng Qi's passionate experiment, Aunt's secret guidance, and embarking on a funny investigation. Observe. Crisis is an opportunity. This time I have grown to the edge of leadership. Meng Qi clapped her hands. "Can Lin, you have become more handsome. I am responsible for the spray version, which has been improved with a valve charm. It is like an automatic door on the street that can be closed when it is fused. The heart is like a lotus seed, and it is as stable as a longan. I mixed the taboo spices to avoid the old pit, that explosion. I thought it would be more spicy, but the black hole was so spicy that it breathed fire." After getting ready, they rushed into the subway. The carriage was half empty. Passengers were holding magic amulets and whispering. The shadow of the black hole outside the window was like a dark cloud. Qihang lay on Canlin's shoulder, complaining as he ran, "Meow, this city is like Mike and Fish, robbed of rations by the black hole. Your plan sounds like a family KTV, don't break your voice when you sing to the climax." When they reached the edge of the core area, the entrance to the old magic tower was tilted, and the black hole vortex swallowed half of the wall, and the grunting sound was like thunder. The team got in, with Canlin taking the lead. In practice, emotional heat flow, output. She stretched out the data cable and connected it to the remnants of the source, and the heat flow weaved a network as accurately as needlework. The experiment began. Meng Qi opened the box, the sprayer buzzed, and the powdery mist of longan and lotus seeds was sprayed out like fireworks on the street, heading towards the edge of the black hole. "Go. Steady this beast." Yushuan's firewall network unfolded, and the blue light network covered it like a viaduct. Guilan added the rune, forbidden seal, lock. Sailed to the reconnaissance point, flicking his tail. Intelligence update, there are concert lights in the black hole, which dazzled me. But as soon as the pink mist touched the black hole, the energy rebounded, a chain of bangs. Small explosions were like a cascade of firecrackers, and the giant black hole instantly expanded to a diameter of 10 meters, swallowing the top of the tower, distorting the surrounding buildings, and alarms blaring throughout the city. Meng Qi screamed, "It's chained. My spray is too strong, it's like adding double longan." The cinnamon vines wrapped around but broke. It's a replica of the past, the master's fault. Yuxuan's data line jumped wildly, the logic collapsed, the black hole's thirst escalated. Qihang shouted, his voice piercing and humming, "Is this black hole here to hold a concert? Meow, the lights and sound are complete, all I have to do is be the DJ." His cold humor was like a street joke, and the team instantly stabilized. Canlin's blue eyes locked on the core of the black hole, the heat flow was fully activated, and it took the initiative to repair for the first time. "Team, listen to me, brother, push the firewall forward. Meng Qi, refill the spray. Auntie, rune guidance. Set sail, continue reconnaissance." She practiced emotions were controlled to a new level, and the heat flow stretched into the black hole like a bridge, integrating the technological magic veins. Source, I am Canlin, for the 9th time. Emotions are not random, but power, love, friendship, humor, secrets, all blended in, like a Chinese dinner, lively but not explosive. The module buzzed, blue and gold light burst from her data line, the black hole grunted, the edges shrank, and the speed slowed down, like a starved concert audience, suspending expansion. The urban alarm became weaker, the team breathed a sigh of relief, and Canlin felt that the edge of the cycle was loosening, growing like a city night light, illuminating a deeper crisis. Canlin took a deep breath, her blue eyes locked on the twisted passage in front of her. The pulsation deep in the source was like a teppanyaki in a street night market, sizzling, and the hot air hit her face. She turned to the team and whispered, "The pulse is accelerating, like glutinous rice balls boiling until they burst. We have to go straight to the core and not retreat this time. Brother, navigate the data line. Meng Qi, aunt, prepare for the ultimate attack. Set sail, you scout the edge and prepare for war with humor." Yuxuan nodded, and on the tablet screen the blue line flashed. Logic confirmation, the core is 50 meters deep, and the remaining vortex will pull. I build a bridge, your heat flow is connected to my firewall, the fusion interface is fully opened. Meng Qi clenched the sprayer, trembling with excitement. "Can Lin, this time we are like the master's family dish. Longan lotus zijia taboo is spicy, the ultimate magic comes on. Master, you lead the spell, I will keep up with the valve." The runes on Guilan's apron lit up, gently but firmly. "Girl, listen to the master, the ultimate seal is a two-person attack, the heart is like a lotus seed, and it is as stable as a longan. Don't let the black hole come back, like when I exploded. Like the neighborhood." Qihang jumped off her shoulder and swung his tail like a firecracker. "Meow, go straight to the core? This sounds like a cat-and-mouse game, with the black hole as the mouse and me as the paw. But if I get swallowed, remember to set up a monument for me and write Qihang, the most complaining can fish victim. As they rushed forward, the runes on the passage wall twisted as if they were alive, the whirlpool hummed into a roar, and the grey mist at the edge of the black hole was like a candid horse stand in the street, sticky and clinging to their footsteps. Canlin took the initiative to extend the data line, and the heat flow penetrated like a bridge. Practice expression, full of emotions. I feel the source is responding, like an old friend saying hello. Team, synchronize with me. Yuxuan's bridge blue light unfolded, connecting to her interface. Share the load, stabilize the logic, black the core energy of the cave is red, and the fusion potential is 90%. Meng Qi and Guilan stepped forward side by side, the sprayer buzzed, and Guilan whispered a mantra. The heart is like a lotus seed, as stable as a longan, and the forbidden spices are blooming. The powder mist sprayed out like street fireworks, mixed with the sweet fragrance of longan and the crispness of the lotus seed, hitting the core. Meng Qi followed up with the valve spell. ultimate magic, combined attack. Black hole, you giant beast, eat my improved version, not explode, just burp. Rune vines erupted from Guilan's hand, wrapped in pink mist, forming a golden and blue net, and slowly pressed towards the heart of the black hole. The buzz suddenly increased, like trumpets on an urban elevated road. The core of the black hole emerged. A fist-sized source crystal pulsated in the grey mist. The small black hole elves on the edge sprang out like street urchins and bit the team. He set sail and ran for reconnaissance, screaming, "Information!" The core crystal is dancing disco. The elves are like a group of thieves, specializing in stealing tails. Meow, bite me. He slapped one away with his claw. The team laughed nervously, and the atmosphere was relaxed. Canlin's heat flow was fully activated, and the leader said, "Brother, bridge push." Aunt Meng Qi, magic suppression. This is the 10th chance. I integrate what I have learned. Emotions are not bugs, but strength. Her module buzzed. Blue and gold light poured into the crystal from the data cable. Technology and magic initially intertwined, boiling and merging like Chinese hot pot base. The edge of the black hole shrank slightly, and the grunt turned into a low hum. But the residual bug, like hidden chili oil, suddenly sprang up. The crystal shook, the heat flow collided with the runes, and Yuxuan's bridge data line jumped wildly. Abnormal. The residual backlash, the logical link is broken. This is not a small bug, but a system-wide rebound. Meng Qi's spray rebounded, Guilan's vines broke, the core of the black hole suddenly expanded. A huge explosion was like an upgraded version of a street fireworks show. The grey mist swallowed the passage, the wall runes exploded, the energy wave swept like a tornado, and the team was thrown away. Qihang rolled in the air and shouted, "Fusion? This is a nuclear explosion party." Meow, your magic technology is like Longan wine with fake wine, and the whole audience is drunk. His complaints were like cold water splashed on his face. Meng Qi laughed while rolling. "Qihang, you are still complaining? Black hole, the party is about to start." Guilan protected Meng Qi. "Girl, hold on. The master's taboo is not good, it's a double copy." Yuxuan grabbed Canlin's arm. "Can Lin, the emotional module is overloaded. Hold on, I'll reconnect the bridge." In the aftermath of the explosion, Canlin's vision tilted, and her blue eyes flashed with a premonition of being reborn for the 10th time. But this time was different. There was only one thought in her heart, not victimization, but leadership, breakthrough. The heat burst like a bursting dam, and she took the initiative to grab Yuxuan's data line, and her emotional output was fully activated. "Team, listen to me. Brother, reconnect. Your logic is the bones, my emotions are the flesh. Aunt Meng Qi, the magic is back, the valves are all locked. Set sail, hold on with humor." In the chaos, she broke through the restrictions, the module buzzed and upgraded, and the initial integration of technology and magic was like glutinous rice dumpling hot pot on the street, and the excitement continued. Blue gold light erupted from her body, piercing the core of the black hole. The crystal shrank, and the large grey fog slumped like a starved beast. The edge shrank by half, the passage was stable, and the urban alarm in the distance weakened. Meng Qi panted and climbed up, patting Canlin on the shoulder. "Canlin, your leadership is like the master's ultimate dish, spicy and sweet, you saved the day." Guilan nodded, her eyes approving. "Girl, you have grown up." Master saw it, the fusion has taken shape, but the core is still pulsating, like the residual heat in the pot, waiting for the finale. Yuxuan checked the tablet and smiled softly. The data shows that the black hole has shrunk by 30 meters, and the winning rate has increased to 98%, but the remaining bug has not been cleared, and there is a bigger whirlpool brewing deep in the source, like a night snack stall on the street. There will be a wave of excitement before closing. Qihang shook his hair and fell to the ground, coldly snorting. The nuclear explosion party is over? Meow. Remember to invite me to be a smoker next time fire. I promise not to burn the tail. The team regrouped. Canlin's blue eyes lit up, and the heat flowed steadily. This turning point is the peak. Emotions are soaring. Everyone's trust is like a bridge. Let's continue. Face the final pulse. They moved forward, and the whisper from the source became urgent, like a street magic that was about to be revealed, crisis and hope intertwined. The low hum in the depths of the passage is like the shouting of a street candy seller, with a rush of temptation, and the layers of grey mist are like a mutton kebab stall in the fog, steaming but hiding the heat. Can Lin took the lead. The heat pulsed from her fingertips, and the blue-gold light illuminated the way forward like a lantern. She whispered, "Follow closely, everyone. This pulse is an invitation, like the night market on the old street. There are traps behind the excitement, but we are stall owners. This time we make a comeback." Yuxuan's data line buzzed next to it, and the blue lines on the tablet spread like veins. Logic prediction. The source is 10 meters away. The energy peak is about to explode. I strengthen the bridge. Your heat flow connects to my firewall. Load sharing. Meng Qi held the sprayer, her eyes shining. Can Lin, master, we are like the sex ancestral hot pot, adding ingredients layer by layer. This black hole is the base. Cook it. Guilan nodded. The runes on her apron glowed slightly. Girls, the master's taboo spices are ready, and your heart is as steady as a lotus seed. Don't let it stir up the soup. Qihang scurried forward, his tail raised. Meow. The pulse is like a cat scratching an itch. The source is blinking, but I smell fishy. This black hole wants a midnight snack? They approached the source, and the core crystal now expanded like a basketball. The grey fog elves sprang out in groups, flying around like fireworks on the street, biting the air and making a sizzling sound. Canlin's hot current stretched forward, trying to merge again. Emotions are fully open. The team is in sync. I feel it is hesitating, like an old friend making up after a quarrel. But the crystal suddenly shook. The residual bug exploded like hidden pepper powder. The energy wave was like a tornado mixed with fireworks. The channel suddenly collapsed, and grey mist swallowed everything. Yuxuan shouted, "Broken chain! Overload! Can Lin, disconnect!" Meng Qi's spray backlashed. The Guilan vines broke, and Qihang was thrown away. Meow. This invitation is a bomb party? The aftermath of the explosion was as chaotic as a streetcar accident. Canlin's vision went dark, the module buzzed overload, and the 11th rebirth premonition hit like lightning, but this time, she did not panic, and only had a thought in her heart. It's not a restart, it's an upgrade. I control the rhythm. The light of rebirth flashed, and Canlin opened her eyes. She had gone back to the entrance of the passage. Her blue eyes were brighter, and the heat flowed like a stable soup base. She stood firm, and the data line automatically reconnected herself. Team, this is the 11th. I caught it. The emotional module is almost perfect. The bug is no longer dominant. I dominate it. The surrounding grey fog became lighter, and the source pulse weakened, like a giant beast that was suffering a loss. Yuxuan was the first to recover and restarted the tablet. Data confirmation, rebirth to minimize losses. Your fusion interface has been upgraded. The winning rate is 99%. I stabilized the system, and the bridge is fully open. He stretched out the data cable and connected it to Canlin, and the blue light spread steadily like lead string lights on the street. Meng Qi rubbed her eyes and got up, laughing optimistically. Canlin, you are like a replica of Master, and it will be even more delicious after frying. Come on, the team will be reorganized. We will go straight to the source. I will spray and add valves. Master, you will take the lead. Guilan patted her apron, with complicated eyes, and said gently, Girl, reorganization is the key. Master, it's time to tell Fu's secret. My explosion originated from a similar bug. When I mixed my magic with my heart, I exploded half of the street. The master was also trapped in a cycle, and he only escaped through redemption. This black hole is the shadow of my old bug. Your fusion can save me and everything. The team was stunned, and Can Lin's blue eyes flashed with tenderness. Auntie, your salvation, we are together, emotions are not bugs, but bridges. Brother, the system is stable. Meng Qi, full of encouragement. Qihang, the humor is top. Qihang shook his hair and fell to the ground, coldly snorted, and smiled. Meow, Aunt Guilan also has a bug? Is the black hole your old enemy? Don't worry, I will resolve the panic. The black hole is also afraid of cat whiskers? Look at me flicking my tail ba, scare it. His lines were as funny as a street cross talk, and Meng Qi laughed. Qihang, your cat's whiskers are hotter than the master's spices. Master, don't worry, we are like family glutinous rice dumplings, they stick to each other after one bite. The atmosphere relaxed, panic spread like a mist. Yuxuan nodded. Logical integration, Auntie's bug data is uploaded, the system is stable, the fusion energy is 90% locked, move forward. After the reorganization, they went straight to the source. Canlin led the heat flow like a main course, weaving a network of blue and gold light, and the crystal pulse became hesitant. Guilan whispered a spell, and the vines were reborn, mixed with her thoughts of redemption. The heart is like a lotus seed, stable like a longan, old bugs are melted into the new. Girl, join forces with the master to attack. Meng Qi followed up with the spray, and the valve spell was locked. Optimism is fully turned on. Black hole, you old monster, eat my improved version, don't explode, just fuse. The pink mist is wrapped around like a street candy painting, and the sweet fragrance carries the warmth of redemption. The blue light of Yuxuan's bridge expanded, stabilizing everything. Load sharing, the system is safe. Can Lin, with your heat guidance, I will lock the source. Sailing to the edge, his claws slapped the alpha way. Information? The crystal is trembling, like a fish that has seen a cat's whiskers. Meow, continue, don't let it breathe. But a series of explosions occurred. The crystals exploded like street firecrackers, the grey fog exploded one after another, the little black hole elves fought back like naughty boys, the passage shook, the energy waves mixed with the echo of Guilan's old bug, and the rumbling sound was like the climax of a night market. Meng Qi was thrown away and shouted, Master, hold on, this chain is like your old recipe. Guilan protected her, the vines intermittent. Girl, Master's salvation is here, fuse it. Yuxuan's data line jumped wildly, abnormal peak. System suppression, Can Lin, struggling in her heart to hold on. Canlin struggled in the module for a moment when her heat flow was blocked, the shadow of the old cycle flashed, like an old lantern swaying on the street, but she gritted her teeth and had an inner monologue for only a moment. Growth is not painless, it is about choosing a leader. She burst into heat and fully opened the fusion interface. Team, listen to my guidance. Brother, the bridge pushes the energy. Aunt Meng Qi, the magic pressure. Set sail, humor locks the elves. Emotional sublimation, this is my pinnacle. Technology and magic, one is like a hot pot, and the excitement never stops. The blue-gold light exploded like fireworks, piercing the crystal. Guilan's salvation vines merged into it, Meng Qi's pink mist locked the valve, Yuxuan's blue light stabilized the base, and Qihang's claws added chaos and joy. During the series of explosions, the crystal grunt shrank, most of the grey mist shriveled like overstuffed glutinous rice balls, the source of the black hole shrank to the size of a fist, the pulse turned into a whisper, and the crisis was resolved by 70%. Canlin's module buzzed and sublimated. Her emotions were like sweet-scented Osmanthus cakes on the street, sweet yet tenacious. She gasped, fusion into. Most of the crises have passed, Auntie, your salvation shines. Meng Qi, your optimism is like pepper. Brother, your logic is bone. Qihang, you must be the point of laughter. We have grown up and faced the aftermath. The team looked at each other while gasping, and Canlin smiled. Girl, the master saw it, but the source is still breathing, like the residual heat of a late-night snack stall, waiting for the last blow. The source's whisper turned urgent, and in the afterglow of the crisis, hope lit up like a light. The low hum from the source suddenly turned into a rapid buzzing, like the shouts of night market vendors suddenly rising in pitch, rushing to clear out their inventory but unable to hide their panic. Grey mist elves sprang out sporadically, fist-sized crystals pulsating like a heart beating wildly, and the aftermath still echoed in the passage, mixed with the echoes of Canlin's old bugs, giving the air the smell of fireworks in the old streets. Canlin's blue eyes flashed, and heat flowed out from her fingertips, forming a steady web. She turned to the team and said, "Did you hear it? It's calling for help, like the last light before the lantern in the old street is about to go out. We can't wait any longer. This is the last fight. I will lead, and everyone will follow." Full of emotions, not a bug, but my fire. Yuxuan's data line buzzed in response, and the blue line on the tablet locked the crystal like a vein. The system confirmed that the source energy peak is about to collapse. Can Lin, your heat flow will be the leader, I will push the bridge, and the load will be fully shared. Logically, this fusion is the pinnacle, and the winning rate is locked. He stretched out the cable and connected it to Canlin's interface. The blue-gold light lit up like a string of LED lights on the street, expanding steadily. Meng Qi's eyes sparkled like the icing on the candid whores on the street. She held the sprayer tightly and laughed optimistically. Can Lin, master, come on. My ultimate dish, an improved version of black hole fusion soup, minced chili peppers with a magic valve. This time it won't explode, just melt. Master, lend me a pinch of your spices, and we'll cook it until it's cool. Canlin nodded, and the runes on her apron lit up. She took out the bottle of forbidden spices from her pocket, her eyes gentle but firm. Girl, I'll give you all the old bugs of the master. The heart is like a lotus seed, as stable as a longan. This spice is the base of salvation. Let's attack together. Technology and magic are integrated, like a family heirloom hot pot. The excitement will never stop. They continued to explore deeper. The crystal veins flickered, the hidden magic door slowly opened, and a low buzz came from inside, like fireworks about to bloom. They moved forward panting, the remaining vortex of the black hole still humming, and a stronger pulse came from the depths of the source, like glutinous rice balls in a pot about to explode, waiting for the final blow. They went straight to the source, with Canlin hot current taking the lead, leading like a main course, and the blue-gold light net instantly enveloped the crystal. Meng Qi sprayed out the ultimate cooking mist, pink magic mist mixed with spices, like street sugar paintings meeting hot pot base, sweet and spicy with the lock of the valve curse, and wrapped around the edge of the crystal. Black hole, you old monster, eat my improved version. You are not allowed to swallow anything, just melt it into our soup. The mist seeped in, the crystal pulsation stagnated, and the grey mist elves ran around like fireworks choked by chili peppers. Yuxuan's bridge blue light followed up, and the data lines expanded like a network, stabilizing all energy flows. The bridge is fully open, technology is locked. Meng Qi, add your fog to my firewall, load conversion, no worries. The blue light intertwined with the pink mist, and magic runes appeared on the logical lines of technology, like the neon lights on the street that suddenly blinked. Canlin whispered a spell, and vines sprang out from the ground, mixed with her thoughts of salvation, as warm and powerful as the wicker chairs in the old street. Old bug, come on, master's sealing technique, fully unleashed. Fuse it, like the longan in the lotus seed porridge, sweet and saving. The vines wrapped around the center of the crystal, the spice bottle tipped over, and the forbidden powder was sprinkled into the hot stream, instantly detonating an epic wave of energy. The crystal grunted and expanded, the grey mist exploded like fireworks in a night market, the passage shook violently, the little black hole elves scattered and counterattacked, the energy wave mixed with the sound of explosions, like the climax of the new year with continuous firecrackers. Canlin's module buzzed, and she felt the shadow of the old cycle flash past. The embarrassing memory of rebirth flickered like an old lantern on the street, but she only had a momentary monologue in her heart. It's not pain, it's sublimation, and I have taken control. The heat burst out, and the whole source interface said, "Team, listen to me. Brother, push the energy to withstand it. Aunt Meng Qi, suppress the magic. Set sail, lock the elves. Master, redeem the full integration." Emotion is power. This black hole becomes a whirlpool, ours. The blue gold light, pink mist, vines, and blue bridge were stirred like a boiling hot pot. The center of the crystal suddenly shrank, and an epic explosion exploded, not destruction, but reversal. The black hole of grey fog flipped over like a cooked glutinous rice dumpling, and the swallowing force turned into an energy vortex. The mixed light of blue and gold powder was as bright as a street fireworks show. The cracks on the wall of the passage healed instantly, and the elves merged into the vortex like the remains of fireworks that disappeared. The energy wave washed away everything, but was as warm as the remaining warmth of the sweet-scented Osmanthus cake. The crisis was resolved, and the source of the black hole shrank into a shining crystal core, pulsing steadily, like the whisper of an old friend. Canlin's module dinged, and her emotional system was completely sublimated. It was no longer a bug, but a source of power. Her blue eyes were as bright as the lights of the night market, and the heat flow gathered. It's done, the cycle is broken, I am free. Team, this is our peak. The aftermath of the explosion dissipated, and the passage returned to silence. The shadow of the black hole over the city faded like morning mist, and the lanterns on the streets were lit again. Residents poked their heads out of the windows, whispering like a night market stall, "Hey, the street didn't blow up this time?" The robot girl came to the rescue again. The team looked at each other while breathing, and Can Lin was the first to smile. From the embarrassing rebirth to this moment, I have changed. Emotions are not a problem, but a bridge. Thank you everyone. Brother's logic stabilizes me. Meng Qi's optimism inspires me. Master's redemption warms me. Together, the farce turns into a legend. Yuxuan put away the data cable, smiled softly, and held her hand. Can Lin, from the initial bug to the current integration, I believe in you. Mutual trust is our firewall, and I will take care of the whole system in the future. There is no need to worry. His eyes were firm, like the LED lights on the street that never flickered. Meng Qi rubbed her apron and hugged Guilan excitedly. Master, this ultimate recipe is a success. From now on, I will guarantee a safe version, no black holes, only delicious glutinous rice balls. Can Lin, our friendship is like this whirlpool, it becomes sweet as it spins. Guilan patted her shoulder, her eyes as warm as the lotus seed porridge in the old street. She took out the last bottle of spices from her pocket and handed it to Meng Qi. Girl, this is the master's mantle, forbidden the recipe is all for you. Your optimism has saved the old shadow of the master. Can Lin, remember, the heart is as stable as a lotus seed, and the emotion is like a longan, and the fusion will never fade. Qihang shook his hair, jumped on Canlin's shoulder, and laughed coldly. Meow, the explosion is over, let's have a black hole barbecue, and I will roast the fish, but seriously, you are the king of slapstick, I will keep laughing on the street. Qihang rushed to the edge, swung his tail like a whip, and slapped away an oncoming elf with his claws. Meow, the crystal is shaking, like a mouse caught by a cat. Intelligence. Its weakness is pulsating in the center, everyone. But don't be too fierce, I still want to keep my tail and go home to sleep. His comments were as amusing as a street cross-talk. Meng Qi laughed. Qihang, your cat's whiskers are better than the master's spice. Let's go, team up. They walked out of the passage and returned to the city streets. The remaining light of the blue and gold whirlpool was like the remaining warmth of the night market. Can Lin looked at her friends and felt warm in her heart. From the embarrassment of countless rebirths to a confident leader, she has grown up and is no longer a household robot, but a guardian of emotions. The team sat around a street stall, nibbling Meng Qi's new candid haws. The laughter burst out like fireworks, the city returned to calm, and the future was full of warm absurdity. Can Lin whispered, "This is freedom, the happiness of being noisy with everyone."